We're in Toronto. I got my buddy here from Solo.
What's up, Kayla?
Introduce yourself.
I am Varun from Small Ownership Landlords of Ontario. A really good friend of everyone at Ontario Landlords Watch. I love the work you guys are doing out there. And thank you, Kayla, for keeping everyone at OLW motivated.
Likewise.
Yeah.
Solo is again, like we all have our different techniques of what we do when we're advocating for the industry. But today we came together with TVO and we were debating a tenant union and who's Ricardo? What was he? He's looking at CMHC stats and wants to see landlords, finances?
Yeah, the finances for small landlords. How do you... Like, look, we don't own apartment buildings. We don't own that building. We don't own this building.
We're not Dream, guys. So we had the tenant union. She was there, and she's trying to say that they're doing a rent strike for fairness and that they want to have maintenance done to their properties, but they don't want it above the guideline rent increase, and making it sound like it was easy to do an above the guideline rent increase. Like, no, it's not that easy and it's not that simple to do, but we have aging infrastructure that needs to get done. And we're kind of warning them, listen, like, go do your rent strikes that these big guys can probably withstand, but your tenants are going to be the ones who are going to be evicted. Right. They're going to be reported to frontlobby.com. It's going to be shared with Equifax and Landlord Credit Bureau. You are damaging the tenants and they're not educating them on that.
They are. They're screwing the tenants. And I really doubt they're going to the tenants and telling them, hey, just as an FYI, you can be evicted. Good luck trying to find another rental. And you guys, you folks at OLW, would you lease to someone who went on a rent strike for 1 year? No, of course not. Of course, nobody is going to rent to a person who was on a rent strike. So what is that person going to do after? Eventually, it's going to bite them in the butt. It's going to hurt.
And this is where we get on the concept that 2.5% is obviously a problem for landlords. Obviously, we are able to manage for the older guys, but the new ones they're getting out of the business. They're getting into other countries to do an investment. And when they see rent strikes, when they see AGIs, when they see a housing shortage, that is a symptom of rent control catching up with our economy.
Absolutely, yeah. I challenge any of these tenant union groups, go out, buy a crumbling building, and I want you to rent it out at low rents the way you want. And I challenge you to meet the legal standard to maintaining that building. None of them will. They will have the city at their door trying to tear them down and to kick all those tenants out. They are unable to maintain these buildings. You can't do it. This money's got to come from somewhere.
And now when Harun was, we were talking about the above the guideline rent increases, and obviously now the non-payment of rent, you're filing at the Landlord and Tenant Board, and now we're like, the Landlord and Tenant Board it's the number one application of the board is an N4 application.
And they want to increase it even more.
And they want to increase it even more. How many people are a part of it? Half of the buildings?
Half of the building. And Dream wanted to enter into payment arrangement plans, right? Something really honorable, I think. Like, hey, you're having trouble paying your rent? No worries. We're going to work with you. And 24 out of the entire building, only 24 tenants were like, we will work with the landlord. The rest of them were like, screw you, we're not paying rent. Yeah. And why did they all say that? Because they're being misguided by these tenant unions. Those 24 tenants are the only ones that were smart enough to tell the tenant unions, no, I want to keep this roof over my head. I want to protect my family. I want to protect my credit score. I want to protect my future in this country and in this market. We've all been tenants before, guys. Everyone, I think, at one point or another, even landlords. I was a tenant for many, many years, and you have to be at eventually.
It's not a bad name, though.
It's not.
There's not all tenants are poor and all landlords are rich. We have people who want to be tenants because they don't want to deal with the rising interest rates for their banks. They don't want to deal with the toilets. They don't want to deal with roofs and furnaces and how costly that is. So you're getting the rent, but they're not understanding what they get inside and how all of that cost has gone up for the landlords. And I said to them, hey, I know I don't want to I want you to watch TVO. It's coming, I think, on 8 o'clock tonight. But I'm like, you go ahead and you want them to give you the... I lost my train. You know what? Good thing I lost my train of thought. I think you got to watch it.
At least you lost it here.
Yeah, like it was.
We had so much to say in there. Oh my gosh!
You should wait until after the camera.
I had to hold Kayla back. I was like, no, Kayla, but no, Kayla, don't do it, don't do it.
But you guys have to see that when you look at what we need, You need Steve Clark to handle municipal affairs. He's been really good at that. He says it in every committee meeting, how he was the youngest mayor, blah, blah, blah. Go do that. We need a minister who has their shit together, understanding this industry from both sides of the fence, and being able to put out policies that actually work.
Yep.
And the Landlord and Tenant Board, give me out, put it in the comments what you guys are thinking here. Either a two-tier system or a system on itself to privatize the Landlord and Tenant Board. So if we have the Landlord and Tenant Board and I can wait to go through the government side of things, or I can pay a little bit extra to go through the process of a private one, we're on it. Number 1, 2, 3, get rid of the non-payment of rent applications from being at the board.
Oh, yeah.
You know, rent strikes, that's illegal. Like, you're different. This is not a public worker. Like, it'd be different if I can negotiate fairly, but you're not negotiating with me. You're negotiating with the province. And that's what I was going to say. I suggested to the tenant union, instead of doing a rent strike, go ahead and talk to the elected officials and ask them for a portable housing benefit to help you with these increases so that the landlords can do their maintenance work that is required of them. And she didn't want to.
No.
She was upset that the 50 people, or the 50% of Dream's profit, they expect them to take the profits and put it into the building. And I'm like, then why are we working?
She also commented about how most businesses don't make more than 20% profits or something like that. She's now going to go door to door to every business and say, hey, whoa, you're making way too much profits here. Tone it down a notch, guys. You can't be making that much profit.
I'm like, go to No Frills, go to Zehrs. I'm like, we're upset because you're making profit.
It's a lot easier to convince tenants don't pay your rent than to do what Kayla does, than to do what Solo does, to do what the people at Ontario Landlords Watch do. That is to get up, go to your elected officials and advocate. Write those letters, write those emails.
If you need help, call one of us.
I can't tell you how many of those emails. Are you going to get a reply? Do you ever get replies to MPs and MPPs?
Yeah.
Once in a while, right? But we do the work. We don't just say, you know what, we're going to stop paying our rent. Do we ever stop paying our mortgage to protest interest rates?
Yeah, because my washer let go and now I have damage in my basement. So
I'm not going to pay my property tax.
I'm calling my bank to let them know I'm not paying my mortgage this month because I had a leak. It doesn't work like that, guys.
No.
We're not trying to say that all of our solutions are going to create affordable housing. What we're trying to say is that we're trying to stabilize it. And if they want to listen to the people who are building and managing and maintaining the government, our housing stock, versus someone who says, give me less, I want more. That's not the way that's got to go. You need to listen to the people that you're going to partner with, because 70% of the housing stock is small landlords. Yes, our REITs, our big corps, yeah, sometimes they make us look bad, but they provide something to our community. And that's what the small landlords are trying to do. And hey, we got mass immigration, guys. We need
40
immigration.
million Canadians. I think it's like the amount of people in Canada is 40 million.
We need healthy immigration. This is not good. Over 107,000 people came into Ontario last year, and only 15,000 units built.
Where is everyone living?
That's not even
Where is
including the
everyone going?
non-permanent residents who are coming here for
And that's
school.
exactly why the cost of renting in this city is skyrocketing. Do you guys remember grade 9 economics class, supply and demand? You got to increase the supply, right? Increase the supply and watch the cost of rent will slowly come down the natural way. If you try to restrict the cost of rent unnaturally by telling landlords no more than 2%, no more than 1%, all of you guys are just going to get up and go to where Belize, Costa Rica, and all those other good places, right?
Well, that's the thing. We're looking at the banks, the lending powers, the developers are bowing out now. You have the construction. I'm driving into the city. You used to see cranes and cranes and cranes. We're all the cranes, guys. So we have that stipulation where they want the supply, but deep down, we can go based on supply, and you can do the rezoning. You can say, let her rip, guys. But until you have the proper leaders in place to provide balance, a fair and balanced housing system, you're convincing these homeowners from not wanting to get into this industry, because we want them to open up their secondary suite, but they know it can take over a year to evict someone for non-payment of rent. You have to nip that in the bud. That's also costing the Landlord and Tenant Board. Over 31,000 applications at the Landlord and Tenant Board are for non-payment of rent. So you have to say, we have government housing, 10, 12 years in the region of Waterloo, waiting for government housing. 22 years in Mississauga. You need the private investors, and they're leaving. So if you think it's bad now, just wait.
Yep.
So I have to. My husband's probably like, "Where is she?" I know she's on Facebook
She's
Live
on
right
Facebook
now
Live.
in his car. We got to get into go back to Cambridge after dropping off a Krispy Kreme again, I think. But I just wanted to jump on and have my thought process with my good buddy here, because you know what, I think we're two organizations. We're doing something special, very unique together, and it just doesn't make sense for us to collide yet in doing what we do. But everyone needs to make sure that they're supporting each other in this industry. Call on for the Minister of Housing to get a new Minister of Housing, privatize the Landlord and Tenant Board. Let's remove the N4 applications from the Landlord and Tenant Board. It's rent. It's not something that should be on the backs of small private investors or private citizens for that matter. And we need to remove the N12 applications from being heard at the board. You want to know why your Landlord and Tenant Board is backlogged and not providing justice to both parties? That's why. So whoever is seeing this, if you're an elected official, if you know an elected official, please send this video. Hopefully we're on the right side of Facebook right now, which would really suck if it wasn't. We want to make sure that we're here protecting all parties involved, the tenants, good landlords, and of course our taxpayers, because our taxpayers, we are taxed out, and the government does not have any more funds of our funds to keep building, managing, and maintaining government housing. What are you going to say?
I agree. We can't afford to be a landlord anymore. It is killing us. And if you think rent strikes is going to make things better, it is only going to make things worse. By clogging the Landlord and Tenant Board with L1 applications, you're making it harder for good tenants, the really good ones, who have maintenance concerns with their slumlords. Because there are bad landlords out there, guys. Let's admit it.
But there's process. Go to the city.
Yeah.
You get your property
But they
standards.
can't do it because the system is so clogged with tenants who do not pay rent. Get them out of there. Get those tenants out of there and into a different system so the good tenants can get their hearings quicker. And stop encouraging people to breach the Tenancies Act. If you know a landlord that is going to do something illegal, tell them don't do it. You need to follow the Residential Tenancies Act. You need to go to the Landlord Tenant Board. And the tenants need to do the same thing. There is nothing in the RTA, there is no provision that allows for a rent strike, that authorizes people to counsel tenants and encourage them to not pay rent. That should be illegal. It should be illegal to tell someone, go breach your contract. Don't worry about it.
So tenants, if you're watching this, try not to listen to your tenant union.
Pay your rent.
They will lead you down a very dangerous path, because we're on a path of teaching our landlords what they need to do, making sure they're getting their credit checks, make sure that they're reporting their tenants unpaid rent for rent and utilities to front lobby, but make sure that you're a part of your own landlord group. Share it, talk to as many landlords as you possibly can, because we're only going to be stronger together. And guess what? They're feeling the pain of the landlords leaving the industry, and they're feeling the pain of the landlords stepping up their screening process. And you know what? It's in our streets of what's happening in our tenants. When you see tenant encampments that are popping up like a Tim Hortons on every corner, we have a problem. So please share this video with your elected officials. Reach out to me at Ontario Landlords Watch or Kayla Andrade. You can reach Varun at
the Sriskanda on Twitter or Small Ownership Landlords of Ontario on Facebook.
And I want to thank everyone who, I just did a donation of Give, Send, Go to help me kind of keep doing my advocacy, to help me with website and hosting. Oh my God, hosting is expensive. I want to thank everyone for supporting my endeavors of what I've been doing for the last 14 years.
Keep going, Ontario Landlords Watch.
And we're getting stronger, because if we can create more landlord groups like Ontario Landlords Watch, like Solo, like Ottawa Landlords Association, we still have our other big landlords, but they're dealing with our big landlords associations. We're here to represent all parties involved. So I want to thank you all for watching. Tune in to TVO tonight.
8 p.m. Make sure you watch.
Cameras are on. I don't know. You tell me how I did. He obviously did great, especially when he raised his voice, but I'm looking forward to watching it.
I raised my voice? Oh, that's not good. That's not going to be good for TV.
Thank you guys, and stay positive, stay up. It's you just got to fight. You got to advocate, and we're here to teach you how, but we have to make sure that we're in it together. So happy renting, everyone.
Take care.